Sam Villa is the co-founder of Sam Villa Tools. He is a Redken Global Artistic Ambassador, International Influencer of the Year, and a NAHA Lifetime Achievement Award winner. Last time he was on the show, we discussed his story, how he got to where he was, and there was a lot of really awesome information about customer service, creating value, and the future of your career. Today, we're going to talk about customer service and adding value, a key component in your success as a stylist. Welcome back to the Hairdresser Strong Show. My name is Robert Hughes, and I am your host. Today, I'm with Sam Villa. How you doing today, Sam?
Great, Robert. It's great to be back with you, my friend. And I just want to say to Hairdresser Strong, thank you for what you are doing to help this industry continue to grow.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for coming on the show again. And anybody who didn't check out the last episode, you should definitely go back and rewatch it, get a nice introduction to Sam and kind of where his head's at and what his journey was and is so far. So Sam, would you give us maybe like a real high level recap of your story for anybody who did not watch that episode?
Yeah, what we were talking about a little bit about my journey, how I got into it. We talked about the idea of experience. I really believe that it's now about the experience versus the skill set itself and versus the price. I think, it's all about the experience. I made a comment that money will follow the experience. I think we talked about also about a little bit more about how I got where I at in terms of anybody out there that's thinking from the youth side that they want to be able to do at some point what I'm doing. And I made a comment saying, if I can do it, you can do it. But I'm excited also about today's conversation, because I really believe that the world is about people. People buy people, then they buy things. So I think
Yes.
we need to ask ourselves, are you selling yourself as a person, as a belief system, that connects with people? I think the connection today is so important.
So I totally 100% agree with you. I'm very excited to have this conversation because I do, like I had mentioned in our last episode, that I feel like I'm seeing a lot of stuff on social media that delivers a message to the young people up and coming. I had kind of prefaced this in our pre-interview conversation that when I go to the schools and I talk to the instructors, there are exceptions. There are people who seem to be doing an incredible job. I'm going to give a shout out to Diana Varvaro at the New York, Paul Mitchell in New York City. She's incredible. But what I've found is from a lot of other people, a lot of other instructors and school people, that the students kind of get a lot of what they understand from social media. And there's a lot of influence from influencers on the youth. And they don't know what they don't know. So they're being filled with all this information. And I'm finding that there's a lot of kind of not positive stuff about being a hairdresser, not a lot about like how to create an amazing customer service and how to put a smile on a person's face, how to make them feel incredibly special. It's more, hey, this is my business. I'm going to charge my worth. I run this thing. You don't. And a lot of policies for avoiding difficult conversations and stuff like that. So I was so happy that you brought this topic up. So I wanted to kind of dive in a little bit. One, did you have anything to say on make any point that I just made? And two, what do you kind of think? You mentioned that there are various ways to provide an experience, not just in the salon per se. So I'm going to kind of hand it off to you and kind of let you run with any of that.
All right. So let's first of all begin with this. Is just a comment. Communication builds wealth. It builds your wealth, whether it's money, financial, spiritual, mental, whatever it is. Communication builds wealth. I think that's so important. I made a comment last time. The good Lord gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. As a hairdresser, we need to use the ears more than we use the mouth, meaning listen. Listening skills are so important, and listening skills set up your communication skills at the chair. And then when you use your voice, you're using it with more intent and purpose based upon what you heard. So you're not listening to uh, react, you're listening to respond. I mean, there's a big difference. I really believe that we're no longer just conversationalists, Robert. The chair is your arena. It's how you set it up. Like there's rules when I was behind the chair. Now I focus just on teaching. I have a handful of clients that I try, true, and test things across the US. But I remember, when they sat down, the first thing I did was set up my rules, the rules of my chair. You're going to respect me. See, that's part of that communication that builds your wealth. If you don't take the time to do that, you just inherited a migraine headache that's going to rule your arena, and you're going to go home with that migraine headache, and you're going to end up at a divorce like I did.
Mm.
So it's about really understanding how you stand behind that chair, how your body communicates, how your voice communicates, how you listen and communicate to that sets up your success. So the idea is this: is that when you have a choice, and I'll never forget this. I would always try to please the client. Always try to, and then like, you want to bang? I'll catch you some bangs. But little did I know, I should have educated them that they had a widow's peak, and they had to wet it down every day and blow dry it with a comb, or else they were going to hate it, and that's what they would come back. But see, I
Right.
thought I was pleasing them. But what I need to understand is respect the knowledge I have and say, listen, ma'am, if I'm going to ask you, are you up for the maintenance? Because if I cut this fringe on you, fringe for bangs, if I cut this fringe on you, it requires maintenance. What do you mean, Sam? Wet it down every morning, use the fine teeth comb, dry it in an X pattern. That's going to change the growth direction pattern. It's going to lay it down flat. Do you commit to that? No. Then I professionally recommend we don't cut the fringe. So you see, what I did was I took away all of that, me just pleasing the client because they wanted that, but I added my knowledge to that to build my success. Because then she started thinking, wow, nobody's ever told me that. Well, no wonder one time I had a problem. You know what? You seem to know what you're talking about, Sam. Why don't you do whatever you want? Now, isn't it interesting that I get to do whatever I want with this client based upon the fact that I just chose to share my knowledge rather than me then saying, sure, it'll look great on you. See, there's more to it, communication, retail, retail is something in this industry that I professionally believe, and my belief system is, as a salon professional, I need to have the attitude that it's important for me to prescribe and recommend. Product is not an option. It is a necessity. Hold on to that phrase. And so don't worry. Look, Robert, I could care less if they buy the product. What I care is I tell them, you need this. That's all I'm going to do. My attitude is not sell. My attitude is tell. So take the attitude. You got to sell this. You got to meet numbers. Sorry, salon owners. I want you to start building the attitude of tell as a professional responsibility of theirs. If you sell something, great, Tommy. If you don't, no problem, Tommy. But what's important to me is you tell them about it. So you focus 20% of your time describing the features of what the product is, but 80% of your time is teaching that client the benefits and how to use that product, those kinds of things. So once again, there's communication, once again, building wealth, not because I love retail, but because I've accepted it, and embraced it as part of my professional responsibility. So I really believe that the reality of retail now, it's a journey. It's about the idea of creating a retail journey. Let me say it that way. So that's what you want to do. So I just want everybody to understand something. Well, Sam, I hear salon owners out there. Well, Sam, what do we do with my stylist is sitting there and their phones? They're doing all this stuff that you just said, and they're going, well, I can get it here on XYZ for 50 cents cheaper. Great, salon owner, match it right then and there. You match that. For the convenience of that client not having to get on their phone and order it, you've matched it and you're going to give it to them for that price. And more importantly, it is supporting your team behind the chair so that they continue to talk about retail. Because if you don't do it and they say, well, I'll get it here, it's 50 cents cheaper, guess what? That stylist is now puts the wall and hushes up about retail. So it's on both sides. It's on this whole communication process, this connection process of the owner and the stylist needs to take place. In terms of the owner in today's world, in a model plan, is listening to your team and providing your team's needs. It's no longer you listening to your advisors and providing the what you and your advisors decide. It's about what your team needs. Let them set the policy and procedure. Let them interview the people that are coming into the salon. Because that way, when they complain to that person, my simple statement would be, you hired them. Now you guys get yourself in this room and you work it out. You can't work it. You come and get me and I'll be the mediator. So that's, once again, it's about this whole process of communication on the retail side, on the customer side, creating that customer experience based upon my communication skills and the skill set. That's something you got. You know you're going to get that, but I want you to focus on that business side and that communication side a little bit more. It's the same thing, understanding, like I made a comment earlier, social is your new business card. Social is your new business card. And I want you to remember something. I'm going to come back to that in a moment. But when you walk into that salon and you put your hand on that salon door, whatever's going on in your world, you leave it out the door. You leave it outside. Your focus from that point on and being in that building is the person that's in front of you, the person that's sitting there in your chair. That's where your focus is. When it comes to social, I think social is a way that you can definitely grow your business. I think there's so many platforms out there. It's not easy to do. Yes, it requires time. Yes, it is an exercise, but at least I'm not going to the mall anymore and handing out cards for an hour to 2 hours. I'm not going in parking meters anymore because they don't exist, and putting in quarters for people their time ran out, and I leave a business card. Hey, saw your meter ran out. I left you a quarter, and there's my business card saying helped you out. You don't know how many clients I got from doing that. But see, that requires physical energy. Now the physical energy is doing this, and it's well worth it. So when you go to post, you need to use this acronym THINK. You need to ask yourself, T, is it true? Or are you just making something up to get followers or build your business? H, is it really helping someone, what you are posting? I, is it inspiring? Is what you're posting, what you're saying, what you're showing, is it inspiring people, or is it just creating issues? N, is it necessary? Is it really necessary? Or once again, you're just following through with the exercise with no intent and purpose? And then lastly, K, is it kind, Robert? Is it kind? There's so much negativity out there in terms of that. Now, when you see something you like, embrace it, put it to use, but see if it works for you. If it's click, 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 and the 3 clicks don't work for you, let it go. Find something else. But you won't know something works for you until you try it, until you experience it. Here comes that thing again, experience. So yes, I use social, Robert. I spend so much time on social researching, trends. TikTok is great for reaching, I just came across this whole concept, the bubble bob, a Wixie, the Chanel, it's all old haircuts we used to do, but they're just renaming them, but there's a little bit of a difference to them. I love this whole hybrid kind of thing that's going on. So the value of education again, product. I think product needs to become more interactive. I mean, stop saying what the directions are. What do you mean, Sam? Well, elastic. A lot of people use elastics for ponytails. I buffer that with some type of product cream, some type of balm. So you put the elastic in there. Now put the elastics on your child's ponytail. It buffers the cuticle. See, I just sold you on a product that doesn't say that on the product, but I gave you a very unique way by how to use it, by helping you. That's the priority. See, think it needs to be interactive. Things need to be touchable. Go look at Sephora. Sephora is a great example of that. Things are plugged in for them to use. She needs to be a mannequin station with tools there, and plug in a curling iron. Now they can turn it on and they can practice. Say, do I want to buy this? Oh yeah, go ahead and use it. See there again, it's interactive instead of the tools being in just one spot, but you can't get to them. You can't hold them. You can't touch them. Same with product. Like their little Sephora's got little containers. You can get little containers, take a product, let's just call it texture paste from Redken, take some of that out, put it in here, put a little label on there. It says texture paste, and they can try it and they go, oh, I'm going to buy this. But see, think out of the box, basically, is what I'm saying when it comes to retail. And think about the ability of, once again, it just being a journey. Really important.
That's awesome. So I'm just going to do a little bit of a recap here. And so I loved how you tied in education because you talked a lot about education and the in our last conversation in the last episode. So like having being educating yourself, educating the customer, knowing, understanding that, like in my experience, the vast majority of the work that I do requires some sort of product, even if it's just shampoo or conditioner or something like that. But I would say the vast majority require at least one additional product for styling. And I was always told that if you're not walking people through how to do their hair, including styling products and tools, then you're not actually servicing your client. You're just cutting them and saying, "Okay, figure out how to do what I do on your own." So then you also said, which I loved, and I think it was in the last episode. And correct me if I'm wrong if you said in this one, but you talked about putting up a little mini tripod and
Right.
recording a little video for your customer. And I love that. I mean, imagine that experience. You're really kind of carrying on into your client's life with that.
Yeah,
And
and
then
the
you
video I'm talking about is not a video of you or the techniques. Their phone that you're videoing with, the client's phone, and you're videotaping you actually teaching the client how to take care of their hair.
so it's a
Yeah.
private video. It's not like
Yeah.
something you post into the
Yeah.
public. Yeah.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
love that. And
Mhm.
then there's also, you go into social media, and social media is, part of the customer's experience with you, right? So if when they find you, most people, based on the research that I have, most people will do a Google search and then find somebody that way. Now, you might also do a discovery search on social media, and then once they find themselves onto your profile, what is the brand? What are they interacting with? What is the messaging there? What are they experiencing? And then I guess you could even kind of tie all that together, and how do all those things kind of connect with technology for people to book and
Right.
book appointments, um,
Yeah.
ask questions, consult, purchase products, etc. So all of that is part of the customer's experience, and I think that's an incredible, like, set of information.
Yeah.
Before we, sorry, did you have something?
Yeah. You know what? I just wanted to add to that listen, all of that is important. What you just stated, Robert, it's very valuable as a hairdresser. But what I want people to get from here is communication, and education, those two things, communication is, listen, if you go through the exercise of doing that videotape I'm talking about, that alone is going to explode your clientele because they've never experienced it before. Never experienced it. Somebody videotaping them, teaching them how to do their hair. Now they're going out showing all the girlfriends. And by the way, you just did the Queen of the Beehive,
Yeah.
the one where she's the Queen of the Beehive and all her little bees go where she gets their hair done. So you just did the Queen of the Beehive. She's like, see, so word of mouth based upon your communication and your skill set, that's powerful. That's
Mm.
more powerful than social. Social is valuable, but that's more powerful.
Nice. Awesome. Well, I mean, this was an incredible conversation. I want to, as we wrap up, I'm curious to know, is there a customer experience that you have that can stick out in your mind, like maybe like kind of flipping it around a little bit, how a customer was just incredibly amazing to you in some way?
I think, it's that one customer I'll never forget when, being behind that chair. God, one customer. I want to go back to that previous statement. I said one customer who became a very strong client for me. She was a great client, but she was the one that built my clientele, and it was based upon the connection that we made. Now, what's interesting, Robert, at first we didn't get along together, but I found that when I became me, instead of I was trying too hard. I was trying too hard to please her and make her when all she wanted was a connection, just a connection. And once we made that connection, I'm talking about a professional connection. Once we made that connection where I really started to turn around and teach her and not just do, I just didn't do it and then get the money and she leaves. I started really focusing on communicating more and trying to help her. So I think that that experience right there was one that I'll never forget, and that's why I'm so strong on this. Every person that sits in your chair is valuable. I don't
Mm.
want you to have the mindset that as soon as they said, "Oh, this person's not going to buy any retail. I'm not even going to waste my time talking about it." See, there went the professional attitude right out the door, just based upon what you see. Body language communicates really loudly. I can't tell you how many times people would say to me as soon as they say, "Are you okay today?" And what I didn't even say a word. It was the way I looked. You mentioned smile. Smile is a great communication. The longest word in the English dictionary happens to be smile. You take away the S and you have a mile. So that's the value of a
I
smile,
like that.
especially at the chair. It's so, so important. I really think, I just want to leave your community with this, and that is simplicity is today's brilliance. Simplicity, my friends. Maximum results with minimum effort. You colorists have really figured this out. You colorists, no more 300 foils. You got this down now. Us cutters, we're figuring out compressed sections, how we can move it over here and cut it, and boom, it falls down with that diagonal line. See, embrace it all. Don't just hold it. There's danger in the comfort zone. So maximum results with minimum effort. Simplicity is today's brilliance. And I want you to remember that your progression continues and will always be my obsession.
That's incredible. Thank you so much for coming on today and sharing all your experience and your knowledge and your points of interest. And I just this was huge for me. I was a great opportunity for me to get to chat with you, and I could have never imagined that the conversation could have been so rich and awesome. So thank
Well,
you.
thank you, Robert, for the opportunity. And let's do this again, brother. Let's do it again. Make it an annual or something, biannual,
For
whatever you'd
sure.
like to do. Here for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And until next time, take care.
Take care.